Hey, how's it going? It's been quite a while. Hopefully I'm coming through clearly. I think so. It's been way too long since I've recorded a video or streamed. But yeah, lots going on, I guess. Not a lot musically or with Reaper recently, but been trying to stay busy. Hello Danny, hello Will, hello Ronan. How you guys doing? Does YouTube's showing me like crowns for people? For maybe it's the order that you got here. I don't know. So I don't remember when the last time I published a video is. I should check on that. It was too long ago. I haven't published since June 18th, so I missed all of July. Yeah, living the dream, fixing guitars. That's awesome. Yeah. So let me try to mentally recap what's been going on. I think like May, I started biking a lot more, and I planned a camping trip. So I was sort of like trying to get up my endurance and everything to be able to like pack everything on my bike and head out to a campground and stay. And I just kept biking more and more in May and June, and in July I was working up towards a goal of like 100 kilometers in the month, doing like an hour or two a day, kind of at the max. Pretty achievable, and I did achieve that. But I also got injured fairly badly, I guess. And so I was riding back from the mall and hit a kind of went across an intersection a little too fast, and then it would have been like a sharp S curve, like a 90-degree turn, and I hit this post in the middle of the bike lane. So there's a protected bike lane, and there's this concrete post right in the middle of the intersection to stop cars, but it stopped me. So I flew off my bike and did not hit my head, um, but my ear was bleeding for some reason, and so ambulance was called, and uh, yeah, it was a whole ordeal. But they did a CT scan. They no injury really other than sort of mysterious bleeding from my ear. They tried to stop the bleeding. They basically glued my left ear shut to stop the bleeding. And yeah, my leg and stuff, which did hit the concrete post, it actually healed very quickly. So I was back to riding like within 8 days or something like that. But sort of like, the whole goal of building up the endurance on the bike and everything, building up the confidence, like that really backfired at that moment because I was taking risks that I shouldn't have. And then so my camping trip kind of didn't work out as planned. I ended up having to take a car with my brother, and we had a great time, but it wasn't quite the same. So I was a little disappointed I didn't get to bike out there. So, so yeah, I was walking with a limp for about a week or two. I think like maybe 12 days later, I started biking again. I looked at buying another bike and ended up buying another bike. And then not long after that, I was on my way to the bike shop at like 4:20 p.m. or something like that, and I was saw that I had left the zipper open on my handlebar bag, and I went to like yank it to the left, and then fell forward and to the left, put my hand down to stop it, and well, possibly broke my wrist or my thumb or something, and so I had to like finish out the day, the whole trip to the bike shop and everything, um, with with blood on my hands and leg, and it was like a whole ordeal to like try to get a bag of ice from any of the like fast food restaurants. Like none of them would do it for me. I went and had to go to a store and buy bags, and then finally got ice after a lot of convincing from Starbucks. They finally did it for me, but I couldn't use my left hand, so I was like pouring it from a cup into a plastic bag. Just worst day I've had probably. Um, so yeah, it sucks. So that injury didn't at the time seem that bad. I knew that I needed to like get the swelling down and stuff, but I didn't think I had broken it or anything like that. So I just like wore a tensor bandage type splint and these things. Um, and I wore that for like 3 days, and I was like, well, I live right near the hospital. I may as well just go check out what's what's happening. And they didn't X-rays, and they think it might be broken. And I've gone in for a second round of X-rays a week after that, and then a CT scan the day after that. I'm sort of waiting to hear like it's broken. You need to have a real cast or whatever. But like visually, besides having the splint on right now, it looks fine. Like all the bruising has gone away, but there's certain movements I can't do still that are like it's sharp pain. So like, this hand can go left and right really easily. Sorry. But my left hand can't go this way at all. And I can't like I can't grab anything and hold on to it with any strength. So like grip shifts on my bike, that's no go on the left side. So I've been riding around this week with, basically just having access to the gears on the right side. So yeah, not going fast, but still having a good time, still kind of building up my endurance a little bit. And yeah, just gotta be out biking these days. Just the freedom, being able to go farther, and it's great. So I'm not gonna give up biking. Yeah, and so like all during this time, I'm not making Reaper videos, and I'm not super interested in making music or anything like that. I'm not like actively searching out like mixing projects or podcast projects or anything like that. It's just not super interesting to me. There's not a lot. Like I read like what's in the news for music tech stuff, and it's just not interesting to me. So, that's a clue that I need a break from that stuff. It's burnout is gonna happen, and so hence the month and a bit break away from doing Reaper stuff. But at some point I do need to like get some money in and pay the bills. So yeah, that's what's going on. Just trying to avoid completely burning out by just taking a bit of a vacation. My kids are off school. I'm like, this is the time you're supposed to take a vacation, in the summer. So that's what I did. But I'm back, and got a little bit of renewed energy for making stuff. I don't feel like I have like ideas that I gotta do right away, that sort of thing, that sort of feeling. Like I gotta get this video made today. That sort of feeling isn't there at the moment. But yeah, I'm feeling better. The fact that I can bike again is like, yeah, that's good. But I want to get out there like every single day, and I basically have been as soon as I was able to. Yeah. So started biking to recap. Started biking to avoid burnout. Got injured. Burnout didn't go away, and now we're here. Yeah. So, any interesting stories from you guys? What's going on with you, and what is there any interesting things happening in the music sort of business that is worth talking about? Because there's like, so much going on in the worldwide that I don't want to talk about, don't want to think about. But I see people, as always, complaining about Spotify. There's AI bans, things like that happening, and it's just like, ugh, I don't, I don't want to be part of that. I don't want to have to give my opinion on that sort of stuff. Your Harley Davidson got stolen. Oh, that sucks. Shattered your elbow. Yeah, so it's only been 2 weeks since I maybe broke my wrist or my thumb or something. So, it's not constant pain. It's just sort of like I have to wear a splint to like prevent further injury. But I'm able to take it off to shower every night, and to like, if it gets too sweaty or if I'm cooking dinner, I'm able to like, do that properly. Just have to be careful about it. And yeah, I mean, I haven't been really keeping up on watching anyone's videos from the past like month or two related to like music production. Like, very few videos. I've probably seen Venus Theory's videos, like half a Ben Jordan video, maybe one Heinbach video. But I'm not really like seeking out music production stuff. I'm not interested in like buying gear. Can't play guitar right now. Like, I don't know. I actually did get a pretty cool pedal. It's the TC Electronic T2, I think it's called. Yeah, T2. It's like a weird reverb, like a modulated reverb in their sort of what do you call it? What do they call it? Tone print sort of style. I mean, this is my Hall of Fame. I've got the T2 connected to my mixer with the Mavis. I actually don't know if I can send that signal through to you. I have to try to set up another input. Settings, audio. Let's try to get another input in here, if that's possible. It's probably a bit loud. So yeah, Moog Mavis with the TC Electronic T2, and I've also got Hall of Fame, but I'll just go through the reverb right now. So it's that like pitch shifted, modulated sort of reverb. It's kind of cool. Like the Hall of Fame, there's like 10 modes, and yeah, pretty fun. For like long droning sort of sounds, it's pretty cool. Not great for like drum machines or anything. Maybe that's a good example though. Let me get the drums here. Okay, so that's the RD6 from Behringer. No reverb, but it got the distortion on. And I'll bring up the same reverb setting from before. And then on this mixer, I can also feed back the same aux send. So sending aux 1 to itself. that's the extent of the music making that I've done in the past like month. I connected that, found some kind of cool patches, and just like, jam on that sort of thing for a little bit. Not complete song, and never recorded it. But yeah, it's a weird reverb. I don't really like it on guitars, but it's like, cool and weird, I guess. Danny mentioned Chapman stick. There's a lot of wrong notes on it. I feel the same way about guitars. There's a lot of wrong notes on the guitar. Do I have my own music we can listen to? I haven't released anything in a really long time. All the background music in Reaper Log videos are typically my music, but there aren't any. There's nothing like on Spotify or Apple Music or YouTube Music that you can find. Yeah. So, Reaper news. I think I did miss an update. I didn't make a video for the 442 update. Did I do a 440? I did 740. I didn't do 741, and I didn't do 742. I feel like there probably was enough stuff in 741. I just wasn't feeling like doing it. Because, like, it's always a fight to, like, get the time to focus on this stuff when the kids are home. So, Simon says, I'm switching from Ableton to Reaper. I usually feed Ableton Live MIDI from Max MSP, then resample the master output of Ableton. Are there scripts or tricks to resample the master output? Bonus if I can record MIDI simultaneously. MIDI from... for resampling the master output, yeah. I don't know if it's a trick, but let me get Reaper open here. Oops. No, press the wrong button. There we go. Okay, so in Reaper, in the main menu, file menu, there is a save live output to disk bounce option. And basically this is like rendering, or this is like a sort of a tape recorder kind of function. It can even do things like basically pause it while it's not making sounds. But this is just like everything that's coming out the master will be recorded. You can also, like, if your master track has 4 channels, you can set this to 4. And then you can have like multiple layers in the recorded output. I think that's similar to what you're asking. There's also this function here. It's kind of hidden behind my camera, but there is this this thing called shit. What is it called? Global sampler, and so this gives you a 1 minute sort of buffer of everything that's going through the master track, or whatever track the global sampler plugin is on, and you can just drag and drop to kind of resample that output. So for my setup, I have the monitoring effects chain set up with the global sampler plugin. Nothing to see here, but this is just like the thing. Like, this is the sort of input to the script. And then I've got the script docked into the main window. And yeah, when I get a cool sound, I can just drop it in there. But you can also, I think those are probably the 2 best ways of recording the output, if not just having some other app that comes after Reaper. So you could use OBS, you could use, I don't know, I think there's app called Tape It or something like that. There's things that run on your system that can get other inputs, things like that. You would just set up a send here to that app, so like loop back or something, and then go in there if that app doesn't come up directly in the master output. Global Sampler is honestly one of the best tools there is for Reaper. So yeah, hopefully that solves the problem. And as far as recording MIDI, I don't know exactly how you would do that other than to have a track that's capturing MIDI. Yeah, I can't think of how I would do it with MIDI because I don't use any other apps. I pretty much only use Reaper. So I'm either interfacing hardware on the input side or hardware as like a loop to go back into Reaper. I very rarely take the live output and manipulate it in any way other than to send it to OBS for streaming or recording video. Oh, well, Davi says that the VST3 version from BirdBird does actually record MIDI. So there you go. I can, yeah, if you find BirdBird, on the Reaper forum, there will be all the details there. Next question, please. If VSTs are hosted in Reaper and being played by MIDI coming from Macs, I could record that MIDI on each track. Yes, I think so. Yeah. So, yeah, perfect. Desktop version only doesn't record ACO. Yeah, the inter-app audio connections on Windows don't really know how to do that, especially with ACO. But yeah, I mean, if all else fails, you can always use like a MIDI cable and an analog audio cable to record. Like that's fairly foolproof. Trying to think if I got anything else. I got some random like camera stuff. The speakers in the back I like found on the side of the road recently. I don't know. Yeah, I can't think of what other like new gear that I bought. I haven't bought any plugins in probably a year. When Rosetta, will I be able to run non-Apple Silicon ready plugins? I'm getting annoyed with these constant macOS updates. I don't know when they're going to discontinue Rosetta. A lot of the major companies, or I would say all the major companies, have now switched to Apple Silicon native plugins. Anything else is probably at least 10 years old without updates. So I don't know. I think they're going to keep doing Rosetta for at least another 4 years, I think would be a fair estimate. They don't, I know Apple does change things a lot, but they don't tend to take things away too quickly. I don't know. Yeah, it's I think the last company I was kind of waiting on was IK Multimedia for the T-Rack stuff, and they did finally update that, and now there's a new version, T-Rack 6, but the T-Rack 5 stuff still works. Did I ever get into neural amp modeler rigs. Got into them recently. Yeah, so I've done a few of them. We talked about it on live streams. So like when I first heard about it, we did a couple models during a live stream, and since then I've done more. Nothing too recent. Probably it may have even been like 6 months since I've touched it. But I did some base rig models. So it would be like a bunch of pedals and stuff. I really like it. Like on the Mac. On the Mac, I think I go to terminal and I type in NAM, and then it opens. Slowly. Yeah. And then I can train. So this is probably like might be an old version. I'm not sure. Oh, there's even an auto update. I'll just run that. I haven't made an official video about it or anything like that, but I support it. It's one of the few like AI things that I actually support. I think the results are very good. It's fairly easy to learn how to do. It's worth exploring. You can get some really good results from it. And I'm sure that the neural amp modeler, I never remember what the neural amp modeler is. I'll download it. And they've got an overdrive plugin, so I haven't seen that yet. Since I last looked at it, I am pretty sure that a lot of companies are now using that sort of on the back end, or like, what am I saying? The technology used in the plugins for modeling stuff is neural amp modeler inside, rather than impulse responses or their own thing. I think they're doing great stuff. I haven't seen this. I've just been using Amp Locker for my impulses. Amp Locker. Don't know this one. There's so many good amp stuff these days. Like I don't think you can really go wrong with any of them. But yeah, if you've got a bunch of your own hardware, Neural Amp Modeler Trainer is worth figuring out. You download the input file. In the DAW, you would send that out to the hardware and record it back in on another track. You zoom in and you align the transients and stuff. And then you resave that file to make sure that it's exactly the same length and time aligned. And then you select that as your input file. And the output file is you're choosing the output path, I think. No, input file is the file that you download here. Output file is the file that you recorded. Train destination, just pick a folder. And then you can put in information like name, models, things like that. I don't know where these things are used yet. I think this is just like future proofing sort of thing. I haven't seen it. Like Neural Amp Modeler doesn't use that, the plugin. Anyways, good to have it metadata in files. And then advanced options. Epochs is basically how many times is it going to like retrain on the same the same source, like to improve the quality. There's sort of diminishing returns on how many you do. Um, I I don't know if 100 is how many I do or what the default is, but like it can be interesting to run different sort of amounts of epochs and just comparing like um, the sort of the quality of it, because like each time it does it, it's going to sound slightly different, and ideally like it gets exactly the same as the input file, but I don't know. Sometimes just interesting things happen if it's not quite exact. I don't know. NAM plugin crashes a lot. I haven't found that the NAM plugin crashes a lot. At least this version of it, which is 0.79, has been pretty good. So like this file or this version doesn't remember the folder, unfortunately. But once you do pick a folder, then I think it does. I can't remember. I made a file of all pass filters that I don't remember doing. I think it was like I wonder if I have a effects chain for that. No, I bet I threw that one away. I don't know. I don't remember. All pass warp. I don't remember. There's a bunch of all pass filters anyways. Neuralamp Modeler can build things that, or kind of recreate the sound of things that are sort of frequency and saturation, that work on those domains rather than pitch or timing of things. So it can't model a delay, it can't model a reverb, can't model a whammy pedal or a wah. I could probably do a wah pedal with a fixed setting, but not moving. Anyway, it's interesting. It's very interesting tech that's fairly easy to get into. And then on the Tone Hunt website, tonehunt.org, there are some really great, I guess it's called Tone 3000 now. There's some really great things that you can download for free, people sharing their captures, and yeah, it's just endless what you could do with it. As long as it's that EQ saturation type effect. But then you can add in impulse response for a cabinet or room mics or reverbs or whatever. It's really great tech. Any other questions about anything? DK, you missed my explanation of my arm. It probably looks worse than it is, but I don't know. I'm just sort of waiting for it to heal, or for the hospital to tell me that I need surgery or put it into a cast. Keep the questions coming, guys. What scripts do I use every day? Um, Global Sampler is one that I use a lot. And Global Sampler, definitely. X-Frames change transport theme element background color according to Ripple state, which is a very long name for something that's pretty simple. Basically, when you go into Ripple edit for single track mode, the track and the ruler turns blue, and for all mode it turns red. So if I have multiple tracks, it will actually show the difference. So last selected track or multiple tracks will show blue. I think that is a very useful script. Just the visual reminder, besides the flashing icon that Ripple edit mode is on, it's easy to forget or to miss that. And then the other script that is always playing or always running is play sound when rendering finishes. So I have the habit of hitting render and then going to do something else, and then I forget that I had been rendering or working on a project, and hours goes by and I forget to actually finish the project by like sending it to someone, publishing the podcast or publishing the video or whatever. I would always forget. But this option for, or this script for Messpatine, render play sound when render finishes.lua. Weird name, but basically, and I actually did a video about it. Where is that? It's probably in the past year. I'll probably scroll back to find it. And where is it? This one. Render alert for Reaper. It's where I talk about it. And it's been great. Super easy thing. You can customize the sound. Just any WAV file, MP3 will work. So I've got a recording of my friend Ryan saying amazeballs. And yeah, and often I can hear that, like even if I wasn't using speakers, it was just the sound of it in my headphones from across the room. I can still kind of recognize that the job finished. So super nice to have that. Other scripts, it's hard to say because there's so many things that I'm always using. Like every video and I jumped to a different thought. It's hard to say because there's so many like keyboard shortcuts and stuff that I do without really thinking about what the action is. But those are more or less just sort of basic editing type things. So like, for example, that would be a duplicate script. So duplicating plus scrolling, right? The screen scrolls with it, or I can make a time selection and duplicate just that, like within the time selection. And so that we call that one smarter duplicate, I think. No, what do we call that? I called the video smarter duplicate. So Aaron Sendin and I made this. Duplicate items or tracks depending on focus and time selection. And if you edit this action, there's a couple toggles you can choose. Whether it horizontal scrolls, whether it moves the edit cursor at the start, or to duplicate the area of an item that overlaps, or that also the same function works with duplicating tracks. So if I've got one track selected, it duplicates. But if I have 2 tracks selected or 3 tracks selected, are they going to, as a chunk, go below? Or the default way in Reaper is the default action in Reaper would put a copy of this one below number 1, copy of this one below number 2, copy of track 3 below track 3. So I prefer to do it in chunks. So that's another really useful one that sort of once you assign it to a keyboard shortcut, you don't really remember that it's a script. We kind of set it up just to be like intuitive. Always Command D duplicates whatever it is you're working on. Yeah, the Reaper community is very helpful and kind, and yeah, definitely one of the reasons to stick with it. It's just very good, supportive community. I'm trying to think. Oh, I was going to say every video and podcast edit that I do, I always end up using Hada Mixer VIP. So I don't have any tracks in this project, but this is sort of like a secondary mixer. But the main thing I use within this is the loudness graph. And so actually, let me just open up the last podcast edit I did, just to show you like what it actually looks like in a real project. I used to use an older version or like an older script that's been discontinued. It was just called loudness graph, and depending on the setup I was using at the time, I might have like this graph set up on a little tablet or a secondary screen. And this is just like a loudness graph. You can zoom in on it, and it scrolls and it updates in real time. And we have these like guidelines. So I've got one at -14 and one at -23. And all the dialogue kind of sits within that small range. And once I started doing that, people stopped complaining like, oh, the volume's inconsistent or whatever. It's like, based on my processing and then a few manual edits here and there, I can keep the sort of overall level of things using LUFS short term. Actually, it should have been momentary, but whatever. No big deal. It keeps things looking good. Oh, sorry. I can't remember what this setting is, but this one shows momentary or short term. Yeah. Anyways, I find that essential for working with spoken voice stuff. Incredible opening screen. Oh yeah. My splash screen is from, there was a thread on the Reaper forum about splash screens, and somebody had been creating or using Midjourney to create Reaper splash screens, and some people kind of complained that like, there's no artist there, blah blah blah, all the reasons to complain about Midjourney. So somebody did a hand-drawn one, and it was just silly. So yeah, I've been using it for probably over a year now. There's probably a lot more scripts, but yeah, that's like the main stuff that I use in most real projects. But lots of little things here and there. All right. The hand-drawn aesthetic is unstoppable. It's the it's like MS Paint or something like that. Hello, Stevie. I think I have time for another question or two. and then we're going to wrap it up and yeah, get the air conditioning on again because it is another heat wave here in BC. So can't keep the AC off for longer than like an hour or we'll never catch up. So while I'm waiting for another question, I'm just going to update update repack. Are there some cool new scripts? There are always cool new scripts. Unfortunately, it's very tricky, even for me, to keep up with them. Yeah. How often should repack be updated? There's, once a month. More often if you've specifically put in like a bug report and you're sort of waiting on a fix. But the community is always working on stuff, so it's been a while since I last updated, but there are 29 updates. I've had hundreds pop up here before. Just whenever you think about it, run it whenever you feel like it, I guess. Um, yeah, I don't know about new scripts because I haven't really been focused on what's happening in the community too much. I'll stop in every day, but I don't see anything like, oh, I gotta make a video about that. I just haven't had that. That's a me problem more than what's happening in the in the community. Is there a script for hot swapping all the VSTs in a project in one fell swoop with a keyboard shortcut? Not a shortcut. It can be done. Let's say I have let's say I've got free clip 2 on this track. And I'll duplicate it. So a bunch of tracks with a plugin on it. If I go to the view menu and then go to what's it called? Project Media Effects Bay. Go to the effects page, and then interesting. I want normally the plugin name, if the settings are exactly the same, they would be listed only once. But you can do things like replace in project. You can change swap it for settings on a different track. I thought that there was a swap button. No, I guess not. I thought there was a button to swap it with something else. I could have sworn that multiple instances could be managed at once. Am I crazy? Maybe that changed recently. There it is. Options: group similar objects into single items. Um, replace all instances. Yeah. Unfortunately, you can't bring up the full list. I was sure you could do that. Anyways, like, this is still useful for doing things like bypassing all of them at once across many tracks, or to set them all offline. Hey, Kelly, thank you so much. Do I back up my Mac to iCloud? I just found out iCloud doesn't allow folder uploads. I don't back up my Mac to iCloud. My iCloud is always full from my family's photo libraries on their phones, because we've got 3 active iPhones, 3 iPads, maybe 4 iPads, 2 Macs, 2 Apple Watches. Like, iCloud is like, it's just too much. But I do use Backblaze, and I have a link in most videos for my Backblaze code. Yeah, I've been using Backblaze for a few years on Windows and Mac, and I've been really happy with them. So they basically do a scan and back up kind of all the critical stuff. You can't do like a bootable backup from Backblaze, but in emergency, if you needed to replace your entire or download everything, you can actually mail them a hard drive, or I think there might be even a fee to get a hard drive from them, and you can kind of get all your data at once if it's like many terabytes. So let's see. Yeah, I have my Backblaze set to just run once a day, and it's never really interrupted me or anything like that. I get 30 days of version history, which is pretty cool, and that's been occasionally helpful if you like overwrite something. And you can choose on the exclusions page, you can choose which folders to not back up. So like the Reaper temp folder, I don't want to back that up. I don't back up the desktop. But yeah, this is all optional. You can have it kind of scan everything to exclude certain file types, things like that, just so you're not kind of wasting bandwidth, I guess, on files that don't need to be backed up. And this is like a really hands-off approach to backup, and I like that. In the past, I've also used a network-attached storage, and that was fairly hands-off until it broke, and then I couldn't access it at all, and it was just, I lost all that data. And I did have some unique things on there because it was a large drive. So kind of, yeah, that kind of sucks. And I used, what's the local iCloud, or local version of iCloud? Not iCloud, it's, Time Machine. I did like Time Machine quite a lot, but I don't want to have additional hard drives connected at all times and stuff like that. Like, it's too much stuff to maintain. So, but Time Machine was cool just to be able to, just the interface of being able to go back in time to get certain files, or to just go back for the entire system. I do like that, but I'm not currently using it, and I haven't probably used it in 4 years or something like that. I was using Time Machine with a network attached storage, and external drive, FireWire drives before that. Is there any way to make the play cursor follow a little more smoothly? Probably not. And I don't know the technical reasons for like why it's jittery or whatever. I personally never use the, what do you call it? The continuous scrolling option. Yeah, just like the graphics of Reaper are trying not to get in the way of the audio processing, and I think that's why it's like certain things are not as smooth as you might like them. Yeah, I wish I had an answer for that, but probably not. All right, guys, that is about an hour, and I didn't really have anything planned other than to say hello and say what's going on lately. And yeah, hopefully I'll be back to making videos sooner rather than later, but probably September. It's just a matter of, you know, I mean, it's my job, but I haven't gone to work in a month. I don't feel good about that. Anyways, yeah, I'm starting to feel better, and I appreciate you all hanging out with me. And yeah, have a great day, guys.